Greetings, metal scholars. Welcome to another sleep token chapter. And these videos, they serve as offerings to the attempts at understanding the message that we get through Vessel. The last video, I worked on the overall concepts of their first EP, from 2016, the self-released called One. And if you haven't seen it, please click on the card right here. Today, I delve into the lyrics and the video of Thread the Needle. And it's an amazing song, packed with references, Easter eggs, ideas, and I'm going to focus on the cover artwork first. So looking at the cover, there's the element of the sewing needle, the apple featured in darkness. And it continues with the same idea as the One cover, but this time, since it's related to the expression threading the needle, it's related to failed attempts, probably romantic attempts, or they can be related to connections, and then you end up failing and getting hurt in the midst of it. Notice that there are two parallel needles, completely intact and not really piercing the apple. They could represent vessel and sleep, and the fact that you can thread the needle. You can try, you can fail many times. Just like when he sings, you can thread the needle time and time again. So this also ties in with the desire to focus on the offerings. The apple is linked with the idea of fertility. It symbolizes a vagina when you cut it in half. It's femininity. It's linked with the idea of Adam and Eve. Eve, actually, in paradise. And at the same time, you have the apple in the video as a token, an offering, right? I mean, he does that. Remembering that the apple is also a sign of human knowledge, awareness, right? I mean, you're awake to consciousness, right? Once you bite the apple. So all these ideas, they come into play when one stares at the artwork. But let's dive into the music video. As you can see, the lights are emulating the music video here, kind of like candle lights. You can see right now, I'm showing you. And if you haven't seen this video, I suggest you watch it tens of times, if you can hundreds. It's just an amazing portrait of artistic interpretation and inspiration, and just combined with all the melodies and the sounds, the soundscapes. It's just a phenomenal experience. There's so much related to indie music and alternative, and you can tell that there's some previous background experience from Vessel, from his alter ego, whoever he used to be. And the video begins with candlelight, and you have a younger version of Vessel, and he sings, "Burying me inside this labyrinth bed, we can feel the time is dilated." Something like that. And when he sings time, they actually show us the moon. So this is absolutely amazing, because the moon is our body's organic clock. It's the natural way for our bodies to keep track of various needs, like hormones, or for women you have menstrual cycles. And the word month actually comes from the Latin word mens, like moon, month. And that's the root of menstruation as well. And the image of the moon that is actually shown in the video is just not any image. It's actually the waxing crescent moon. And I think they're absolutely in love with the new moon, because it's that time when the moon is darkest, right? So you can look up on the internet which moon will be when, in London actually, which moon we'll have on May 19th, which will be the release date for Take Me Back to Eden. May 19th is a full moon, or is it a new moon? I think it's a new moon, and it's linked to the new beginning, to the spring, to the blossoming of flowers, apple blossoms, like the one cover, the apple blossom or the cherry blossom, it's just the light is coming and the moon is lit by the sun, but it's just a sliver, right? Don't get too comfy. It's the crescent moon, but it also still looks like a sickle. But, well, let me get back to the lyrics. You have bury me inside this labyrinth bed. Let me just say that not I or anybody else will be able to truly tackle the exact meaning, because I think they do it on purpose. They keep the mystery, and they just use words to, try to have that open interpretation feeling. Why do they do that? In my opinion, it's because they're spiritual. They mimic the same language as Scripture. Scripture works really well because it's broad. It works for various situations. It's almost like, a mathematical function. You can input any number there and it will always have a correct output. So again, take this with a grain of salt. It's, like I said, all my interpretation, but like Vessel says, the music is the message. And the only thing that we have are the lyrics. So just like, when people try to do Bible hermeneutics, right? We're going to try our own interpretation here. So which ideas do I get from the words, burying, labyrinth, bed? Well, let me see. The band is called Sleep Token. So the first line of the first song that they've ever produced is linked to the ritual of sleep. That's, an obvious one. And it's just not any normal bed. It's a journey that will take you to the labyrinth, to the mind. The labyrinth bed is the mind in many ways, right? Lots of paths, consciousness or subconsciousness for you to get lost and for you to hopefully find a way out once you experience this whole thing. And if you don't, then you're just stuck with sleeps, nightmares, and dreams forever, and that's actually what Vessel wants. He wants to be buried here. He wants to stay in the mind, in the labyrinth. That means his previous life is dead. His alter ego is dead. So buried him here, the alter ego, so Vessel can rise. Die Anakin, rise Vader type of deal, And since this is the world of sleep, you're not fully conscious anymore. This gives you many powers, and one of them is actually time dilation. You can live many things in just a few hours, right? It's like Interstellar, when the more you approach the black hole, the longer the time dilates. And it's like many things are going to happen. Maybe you're not going to like it, but just be sure that the moon is your companion, your lover, and time will be different here because you're sleeping. Things are different, and now you are in the hands or just the gentle embrace of sleep, but at the same time ominous. So let's look at the next line, the wonder of spending the night in fascination. Well, that can be linked to a sexual and romantic love. It's the fascination of being with someone that you love or that you desire. Is that sleep? Probably, we don't know, but what matters is the trance, just welcoming the night, and the whole scene is ready. We got new moon, candles, darkness, here's this right place at the right time for the offering, the new moon. And this is just the spot for us to thread the needle time and time again. And we see that the moon is getting brighter. Now, the mellotron kicks in, and we have some amazing messages when he sings, like the chorus, he says, you turn the lights down. And that means that the experience takes him away from the light. He embraces darkness. Now he's just ready because something amazing is about to happen. He says, come on, I wanna find out. And it's kind of like a prayer, he keeps repeating this line, right? And we have now the images of a full moon, meaning that we have the perfect moment for copulation, for fertilization. It's the sperm union with the egg. Well, this is, kind of like a metaphor. But before that, we actually continue the narrative. You bring good and bad experiences to the journey, something to confide in, something to erase. It's kind of like your life. Things that are good or bad. It's just the magic, because now you're sleeping and you're in this transcendental experience, and you're just floating in space, kind of like the branch from the cover of the EP. You're dreaming, or you think you're dreaming. Maybe might be a nightmare, or might be just a lucid state of mind. Who knows? But the full moon is here. Fertility, just the right place at the right time, like I said, for copulation. And you see Vessel's hands, and his hands are just approaching the apple, kind of like representing an insect, full of sperm or pollen, if you will, and he will impregnate the apple time and time again. So all of the stories of mankind, prophets, leaders, vessels, creation. And the most important scene of the whole video actually takes place at 2 minutes and 30 seconds, because we see the egg and it's being fertilized. It's like an amazing image. The sperm cell joins with the egg, and here is the birth of Vessel. It's the awakening. It's like Vessel is born, and at the same time sleep is born. It's just mesmerizing. But and it's kind of like this mind-blowing moment where you realize that there's no sleep without Vessel, and vice versa. And now it's this new world that's opening up for the listeners, for us. And obviously that's my interpretation, using hopefully my power with semiotics, with symbols, the moon, the apple, everything, just really trying to interpret what's, happening with this artistic experience. An amazing thing, like I said, And hopefully, if this literary analysis works for you, then all the merrier. But now let's see Vessel for the first time. He's born. Whoever used to be Vessel is officially dead, and we don't really care about who this person was, because there's just no words before that, no music. It doesn't matter. Now it's a new opportunity. It's a symbol for the offering. We have the whole scene there as the offering. It's the key to understanding the relationship, this love, adoration, worship, prophet-God, transcendental relationship. And you have some transitions that are trying to show you that darkness is taking over now. And some people may think, well, why does it have to be scary and ominous and menacing, weird? Well, there's no love without hardship. There's no love without hate or pain or trauma, childbirth or any type of birth without a painful experience. Therefore, they want to tell a tale that love is mostly suffering, at least knowing that eventually you're going to be apart from whoever you love. We can be referring to relatives or friends, just next of kin, whoever you love. And his heart is in his hand. And he says, take it. It's yours. He does that with his heart and with the apple. Accept my offering. I know that pain will come along. It's not, it's a rough ride. And Sleep Token has set the scene for them to begin the journey, telling the musical journey that they're going to do for years and years. And apple trees, they take 7 years to mature, and they began in 2016, and now it's 2023, and they're going to reach their peak, hopefully, with Take Me Back to Eden, and the band will, again, hopefully become this classic band in the future, because they deserve to do that, because they're super, freaking geniuses. And it's amazing to be watching this as it happens. It's like, if we could go back in time to the early 80s, and then we could watch Metallica when they were still learning their ways, to watch the Police or Iron Maiden, any of those bands, when, and you knew, okay, these guys are going to be great. They're destined for greatness. and just listen to Take Me Back to Eden or the tracks that we've been presented so far. And I think that we are witnessing a classic album in the works. And if you're from the future, I don't know. What do you think? Do you think this is going to be a classic? Okay, at 5 minutes, I think we have, again, Vessel and His Heart, and the song and now is super heavy, genty, like Meshuggah type of, gent grooves, amazing, like dark glass archetype, Sleep Token. And now it's a dance. I mean, obviously it's super heavy, but it's kind of like this Vessel sleep dance that we are accompanying. It's the ritual, the soundtrack to their relationship, to the amalgamate, and they are going to embrace the night, and we're going to worship. Well, that's it for me, Metal Scholar. Sorry, this was a long one, but this is a very complex song, and I'm going to keep going chronologically. It's kind of like reading the Bible, starting with the Genesis, and I hope that you can join me along the ride, because music is what music does. Please share the video. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about this whole thing? What's your opinion on it? What's your story in your version? And just let me know if this whole thing is plausible. Hit the bell button, hit the like button. I am signing out now. The night is here. Worship. Bye now.